mean, that started as, you know, from childhood, making pause tapes. My first record was bought in 1986, you know, and, you know, from there on out, it was just a love affair. And used to be trying to cut on my belt drives, making pause tape mixes for everybody, love mixes, all that stuff. And, you know, went to film school and did all that. And, you know, I liked that, but the music passion was just too heavy. So, you know, just continued on that path. And, you know, I didn't choose it, you know what I mean? It just is the only thing I could do in life, pretty much, is just be around music. So doing the DJ stuff, really big up Cosmo Baker, you know, Rich Medina, Master Vic, King Britt, you know, all those dudes really looked out for me when I was coming up and, you know, encouraged me to do it, put me on, gave me my first gigs, got me in front of people, shit in my pants, you know what I mean? Like, let me get through all the nerves, taught me the tricks of the trade, and, you know, DJ Cash Money, carried Cash's crates, you know, and, you know, broke into the Philly scene and just started doing my thing based on passion, you know, like it was really, you know, minimal promotion, all kind of guerrilla style. Started my own parties, did everything on my own, and, you know, it was all through the music. And, you know, for me, the natural progression, you know, I mean, I played bass guitar and, you know, I'm a novice keyboard player and sang in the choir and all that stuff when I was a kid, so, you know, it was an easy transition into producing. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, man, oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you know, nobody youngballed me, you know what I mean? It wasn't anything like that. We were always, you know, it was always a relationship of mutuals. Actually, because I was in film school at the time, and, you know, I always wanted to be out, and, you know, I would just shoot video footage of whatever I had, and then, like, you know, piece stuff together. I would go out with the camera with no concept, and, you know, wound up having a concept at the end of the month, shooting footage of everybody. And, you know, they would come over and see my record collection, and we would talk music, we would talk film. And Cash Money was the first person really to come to me, and he asked me to do his 10 years of Cash Money video, and he brought me like a stack of like 150 VHS tapes, right? Like him on Arsenio Hall and on Soul Train, and just started telling me all these crazy stories. And I had to sift through all these like hours and hours and hours of VHS footage to find the, you know, the watermark moments, and that was some awesome stuff. And in the process, you know, Cash would come over and he would bless me with, like, you know, he wasn't giving me anything, but he would bless me with information. You know, he would be like, what you know about the Caprells? You know, bang, like, you know, pull a 45 out and tell me he paid $1,500 for it, you know, put it on and just blow my mind out of my head, you know. And you know, he has every single episode of Soul Train that's ever existed on tape. And we would just come over and wild out, like, watching. He would be like, you know who that is? And, like, pointing out actors that, you know, like, reruns, first appearance on television and all that stuff. And it was, for me, it absolutely was, because, you know, in Philly, you know, like, in Philly, when I was a kid, you know, my sister was really heavy in the punk scene, and she was really involved heavily with production and with promoting all the biggest stuff that was going on, and she basically raised me. So I was a little boy, she was almost 10 years older than me, and, you know, she would have me out in West Philly and, you know, at these crazy all-night, you know, punk shows. I mean, I've seen everyone from, you know, Bruin to Black Flag and, you know, Dead Kennedys, everybody. It's like as a little boy jumping off the stage. But what it was outside. They always had, you know, the two cultures converged. Hip-hop was really young, and the hardcore scene was relatively young. And it was just all the counterculture people wound up in the same place, you know. Smelled like clove cigarettes and, you know, dirty clothes and patchouli, and you know what I mean? And it was this sort of clash, you know, on the surface. It was a sort of an aesthetic clash. But, you know, now I realize that it is all the same, you know. I mean, everybody was just really about expression. But point being, like, outside of the punk shows, always the B-boys would set up and have the, you know, have the radios and, you know, and have linoleum on the ground and you know, be hanging out outside of the punk shows. And I always gravitated towards that. It was just whatever reason that was what really moved me. And you know, that's when I really got hip to what was going on. The time Lady B was on AM radio in Philadelphia, and that was the only hip hop show. And then the FM station started to get like once a week stuff. But through all that, like through hearing about these DJs that were putting all this stuff together, we learned about, you know, I mean, I'm from, you know, the city, and, you know, from Kensington and Philly, and like, you know, we all kind of like took sides. We started to hear about Jazzy Jeff versus Cash Money. And we would all try to buy, you know, as many of the mixtapes, get a hold of as many of the mixtapes as possible, and hear about their lunchroom battles and famous, you know. And it was really iconic, you know. It was really something super, to all of us, it was like, you know, Ali Frazier, you know. And both of those guys are just gods, you know. I mean, they're, to be honest with you, no offense to anyone that's ever done it before, but there was DJing before those guys, and then there's, you know, DJing now, and there was never anything like it before, and there's never going to be anything that's not like it somehow after that.